Hey everybody, welcome to Shot Callers Esports. I'm Matt Hempstead, and joining me on the program today is Splyce's jungler, Trashy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So I want to start off with kind of the coaching situation over there at Splyce, because during the quarterfinals broadcast, you guys are getting all kinds of praise, well-deservedly, for doing what you did, putting up a good fight against G2 without actually having a head coach. So going into the back to the regular season, you guys kind of split up with Gevous near the end of the split. Could you tell me what the reasoning was for that decision and kind of why it happened so late into the split?
I don't know if I can go too much into it. It was pretty much just a mutual agreement that he couldn't really help us more during the split. So we decided that it would be more useful for us to just not have a coach and do things ourselves. And I think the result of the G2 series and how we played also showed that we don't necessarily needed a coach. I think we adapted well during the series, and we had good grasp of how to play the game. So it was pretty much just a mutual thing that happened and not more to it.
So was the transition going from having a head coach to kind of just doing it yourselves a difficult one to make so late into a split, or was it pretty natural for you guys?
Generally, not having a coach can be very difficult because suddenly you have to take more responsibility yourself. So our manager Hans and also myself took more responsibility in setting up the scrims and doing more of the planning stuff and making sure that every scrim we have is more reliable, and we make sure that all our time we use effectively. So like basically all of us as players had to take more responsibility ourselves, and so it was just up to us five players to make sure that we were doing the right things.
So in that quarterfinal series against G2, all the pick ban strategies and the in-game decisions, that was all from you guys, or was there like assistant coaches, and did you bring in anyone else to maybe help with that kind of stuff, or was it pretty much just the five players on the team kind of figuring out what to do in that series?
It was mostly just us five players. We have one assistant coach or analyst that helps us a bit with trends from G2, but generally just ourselves, and we put a lot of effort into it. So I'm really happy with everyone that we all put in the effort to make this series competitive.
Yeah, because G2's been a team that you guys have struggled with in the past, and pretty much everyone in Europe has struggled with at a certain time, but you took them the distance, which was really impressive. So what kind of adjustments did you make leading into that series that made you really competitive with G2 and nearly took down the series?
I think we just had like the underdog mentality that where everyone kind of just expected us to get smashed. So leading up to the series, we were just finding ways to have fun and play our game and make sure that we, after the series, could look ourselves in the eyes and say like we did everything we could in order to win, and we actually believed we could win. We had really good practice in the weeks leading up to it, so we were all confident that we could at least make the series really close, and it would come down to like the small things in the games, and that's kind of what we saw. So in the moment, I was really devastated with the loss, but looking back at it, it was a series that I think we can be proud of.
Yeah, because the predictions ahead of time were pretty much all G2 heavily favored, but you guys put up a hell of a fight, went to Game 5. Back in spring, you also had a Game 5 with Misfits, and then going back even further to 2016 summer in that gauntlet, you guys took down Unicorns in a Game 5. So the question is, how different is playing in an all-or-nothing Game 5 as opposed to just another game where, you know, in Game 1 if you lose, it's no big deal, but in Game 5, it's on the line. How different is that to play in?
It's definitely you're not taking as many risks that you might have taken in like the first couple of games during the series, and it basically just comes down to like the small things in the small fight. Like in a slower paced game, there will always be like one or two team fights where you need to be clutch, and that's where G2 kind of outplayed us during the series. And that's not more into it. Obviously, Game 5 is always super exciting. Like when you go into that game, it's pretty much what you one of the reasons why you play the game. Like those kind of high pressure, high intense games. Those are like really insane to play, and it's just like the feeling you get when you go into those games are just crazy. So regardless of result, it's can be one of the best feelings, but also can be one of the most devastating feelings to lose, especially in the last 2 series we did in spring and summer here. It's kind of devastating to lose in quarters like this.
So for you, it's more of like an exciting feeling rather than a nervous thing, because I know a lot of players would get nervous on that big stage going into a game 5.
Yeah, I think you also at that point you're kind of exhausted from playing the previous games, so it's not I don't feel like all the nerves are kind of out in a way. Like you are just fighting with your mental state, and you're being exhausted trying to just give it your all. And so it's not, I don't feel that game 5 whenever I play it's like you're being scared or anything like this. It's not like that.